Hey everyone, I'm Anthony with Courage and Grow, and me and my quarantine hair are here to explain to you how to manage all of your business email accounts within a single place, right? So I don't know if you do this, but let me pull over to my computer screen and I'm going to flip into my SiteGround hosting tools. This would work with any hosting platform where you've got email accounts set up that are domain emails, right? So my domain is courageandgrow.com. I have 3 email addresses for my domain: Anthony at, support at, and hello at. And those emails don't live under domain, but they live under accounts in my Courage and Grow account, or excuse me, in my SiteGround account. And all of these emails could be a pain in the butt, right? Trying to manage them one by one. Usually I see a lot of people coming into these, logging into the individual platform, logging into those email accounts one by one and managing them that way. There is no reason to do that. There is a totally free way to manage those email accounts in a single place, both sending and receiving. So you can get messages, you can send them back out, they'll come to the right accounts, they'll be labeled and neatly organized, and they'll come back out. When you send messages out, they'll come from the account that you expect them to. So let's see how to do that. First of all, if you don't have SiteGround and you're looking for a host, absolutely love it. The point of this video is not to pitch SiteGround, but I use it, and this is what I'm going to walk you through. This will work. I've tried it with Bluehost. I've tried it with GoDaddy. I've tried it with, I had one other, but A2 Hosting, and one other, I can't remember, Network Solutions, I think. All of them allow you to set up domain email addresses and to do what I'm going to show you. But I'm going to show you the principles using my SiteGround account. I will put a link in the description for SiteGround if you're interested. That will be an affiliate link. And if you're planning to, sign up for a host and you're not sure and you like SiteGround based on my recommendation, please consider using that link because it helps support me creating this content. Anyway, back to the real stuff. Let's take a look here. I'm going to do this for a new account. I'm going to set up a demo account to show you how this works. So I have these 3 accounts, and what I want to do is I want to use Gmail as the central hub for all of my messages. This is a fantastic way to do it. You need to have a free Google account, and you can do everything for free. As long as you have hosting and those domain addresses, you do not need to pay for anything to do this. Okay, so how do we do it? We're going to come into settings in Gmail, and you're going to come to the accounts and import tab, and you can see I currently have all of my email accounts in here already in 2 different spots. This one here says send mail as, and this one says check mail from other accounts. Now, there are a couple ways to do this. You could do this using email forwarders, but that's going to vary based on your host, and it could cause some spam flagging issues. So this is the safe way to do it to make sure your messages come in and don't get flagged as spam all the time. And it's pretty universal. So we're going to add, just like you would add an email address to Outlook, right? If you're going to use Outlook as your email client, you add that address and it's kind of checking for mail for you periodically and bringing messages in and sending them out. Gmail can do basically the same thing using this tool or this service called POP3. Don't need to worry about what that is. I'm just going to show you how to set it up. So let's come back to SiteGround, and I'm going to create demo, and it's already filled in my domain at Courage and Grow. I will give it a password. Cool. And hit create. Don't need to save it. Now I have this new account. In SiteGround, it defaults to giving it 512 megs of storage. I always change the quota to allow it to have the full amount. Some might allow unlimited. I always put it at 4 gigs. You're likely not going to need all that. I do like keeping emails in the original accounts as opposed to pulling them in and then deleting them from the original. So when somebody sends a message to demo at, it'll stay here, but then it will also be in Gmail. I just like to have the records just in case. So the next thing that you need to do, you can see my email configuration is set up here, or it's enumerated here, but I also have the ability to see mail configuration here as well using the username and the information here. So I'm going to show you a couple things because I ran into this before when I set this up, but let's just follow the settings the way that they say. So I'm going to flip back over to Gmail, and the first thing I'm going to do is come to this check mail for other accounts, and I'm going to choose add a mail account, and you put in the email address. Okay, and then it's saying this Gmailify, you don't need that. We're going to use POP3. It's there by default. Now, this is where sometimes this can get a little tricky, and it may require you to play with the settings. I had to, because what SiteGround told me was actually not accurate, at least for what ended up working in a couple spots. So let me do these side by side. What SiteGround is saying, it says the POP3 port is 995, right? Which I can choose from this drop down. The username, Gmail populates as just the part before the @ sign, but what I know from experience is typically you need the whole thing, the whole email address. So I'm just going to copy and paste it there as the username. Then I'm going to enter the password I chose. And then it's saying the incoming and outgoing servers are courageandgrow.com. This has pre-populated mail.courageandgrow.com. From experience, I know that when I set this up before and I just used courageandgrow.com and I changed it to port 995, it should be POP3. It didn't like it. We're going to find out. We'll see what happens. But I also tick on two options. Leave a copy of retrieve message on the server. This will keep a copy in the SiteGround side of things, just in case. I don't know why I do it. The only thing you have to watch out for is that quota. That's why I bump it up to 4 gigs, because eventually that mailbox may get full and then you might not receive messages. But at 4 gigs, it's really going to take a long time. If that's an issue for you, if you're concerned and you don't want to worry about that quota on that end, leave this unchecked. But I'm going to check it. And then I'm also going to check label incoming messages demo@courageandgrow.com. You'll see what that means in a minute. I'm going to hit add, and I'm going to bet, we'll see if I shoot myself in the foot on camera, but I'm going to bet that it will not add. And you can see down here that it is loading. It moves, it hides from the mouse, but that little waiting for is loading. And you can see it spinning up here in the corner. I'm going to vamp until it finishes, but I'm betting it's going to throw either a credential error or something of that effect. And it does take a second because it's testing it. Let me just pause the video for you so you don't have to sit here and watch. Okay, so you can see here there was a problem connecting to courageandgrow.com. I followed the instructions and it didn't work. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to just go back to the default settings, because except for the username, which I've never seen it where it didn't accept the full email address. I'll just say that. That is what I always check, the full email address, not just the demo part, but the whole thing, including the @ and the domain, okay? I'm going to, put this password back in. I'm going to add mail dot, leave all the other settings alone, but leave the POP server and the port alone and hit add. Bingo. So I don't know. Don't ask me questions. I don't know. Sometimes you got to play with it. It took me 15 minutes or so to figure out why it wasn't working when I first set this up for myself for the other accounts, but that's what ended up happening. So you may need to tweak things based on what your host is reporting and also the defaults. I would start with the defaults. Let Gmail populate the things. The only thing I would change is put the full email address in the username field. Okay. So the next thing it's asking is, you can now retrieve mail. So it's going to start searching that inbox and bringing messages into Gmail. But it's also asking, would you like to be able to send mail? And yes, we do. We want to be able to, and you can see now I have the demo @ thing added here. We want to add it here, but we don't have to do it manually or we don't have to choose it manually because we're getting the option to do it right now. So we can say, yes, I want to be able to do that. You're going to give it a name. We'll call this one demo. Leave the treat as an alias checked. I don't know what it means. Don't ask me. I could look it up for you if you want. I knew at one point. I have forgotten. If anyone wants to know and would like me to research it, please feel free to let me know. Then it's asking for the server and the username and password. And here's where it gets fun again. I had to figure this out by trial and error. The default did not work. I had to put in courageandgrow.com. I'm pretty sure. I could be shooting myself in the foot again, but if I remember correctly. And then I did need the SMTP port to be 465. And again, fill out the full username and the password and hit add. Ding, 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 ding. So I don't know. I don't know why it works sometimes and doesn't others. Now, what you need to do is it's asking you to verify that this is your account. So I need to come into the account in SiteGround. I can just choose the options button and then choose log into webmail. and it will, open another tab, and there's the confirmation. I can either click the link, but so I don't have to have more tabs, just copy and paste the code, hit verify, and ta-da, now there is demo at Courage and Grow as an option I can send from. So now what I do is test. Before we test though, I want to show you a couple other settings you're going to want to change. The first thing is I have this blurred because I do not publicize my Gmail account. It is private. I never push that out in public for security settings or for security reasons. I go into that in depth. If you'd like me to forward that email to you, please let me know. I have an email that explains all of that, so I can shoot it over to you. At some point, it might be up on the website, so we'll see. I haven't published those things yet. So sign up for my newsletter. You can go to courageandgrow.com/ultimate checklist, which I'll put in the description, and you can get my ultimate checklist for amazing WordPress websites. It's pretty sweet, and it's a really robust checklist of things you can check and benchmark your site against. That will subscribe you to my newsletter, and it is worthwhile. It's tips like these. Okay, so the setting that I would change, I never publicize the Gmail account because this is kind of my central hub. I only publicize my domain accounts, and for the most part, I really only publicize my hello. I'm eventually going to delete the demo because I don't need it. These are the three that I have. I have my name at, hello at, and support at. I don't really publicize the my name at, not because of really any, it's for spam reasons. I don't put that on my website anywhere because anything coming directly to me, I want to be more confident that it's not spam. Support at is for business transactions, refunds, customer service, things like that. And then hello is like my everything else. Okay, so the setting I would change is make one of your domain accounts the default. I'll show you what that means in a second. And then also, when replying to a message, choose the option reply from the same address the message was sent to. I'll show you both of these right now. So when we come over to Compose and start a new message, I have now this drop-down box that shows all of my email addresses that are available. In the drop-down list, all those accounts are there, so I can now choose demo. But you will notice, let me discard this and start a new one. You will notice that it defaults to Anthony@courageandgrow.com. That's my behavior that I like because it means that whenever I start a new message, it will always, by default, come from me. I could also set it to default to hello, but I don't want it to default to the Gmail address. I don't publicize that for security reasons. So I don't want to inadvertently send an email from there because I didn't pay attention. I wrote up a quick email and I wasn't paying attention. So you don't want to do that, and that's the way of getting around it. The second thing is, that's the other setting, is that when you receive a message, you want to make sure that your messages are coming to and from the same account. So let's just for a second here, I'm using demo. Let's just, to make this pretty simple, I'm going to log in to Anthony at. Okay, so this is one of the fun things about doing video. It's saying Horde will be discontinued. That's fine. It'll flip over to Roundcube. I think I was just testing. So what it's saying is, just as a little aside, under mail configuration, it's asking what type you want to use, the client, and they're saying that Horde was discontinued. So I'm just flipping back over to Roundcube, and it won't yell at me anymore, in case you wanted to know what that meant. So going back here again and choosing login to webmail, it will pull up, and you can see I was doing a bunch of testing a couple days ago. Come back to Gmail, and now I'm going to send emails back and forth to myself. I'm going to choose demo because I want to see that one, and I'm going to send it to Anthony@courageandgrow.com. And I always, whenever I do a test, I put test and then some random number so I can differentiate each test. So I know 938 is coming from the account to the to Anthony. Okay, hit send, and then let's just verify that that message makes it through. And sometimes it does take a second. Let's just make sure. Okay, what's interesting is that it's already made it into, now I might have missed a setting when I did this, when I set this up. Oh, nope, there it is. It already made it into my Gmail account, right? Because I've already got this configured to do it the way I need it to. So what I just did was I confirmed that I was able to send from demo and it appeared correctly, right? You can see here it says demo. The next thing I need to make sure happens is that when I reply or send a message directly, let's just send a new message just to confirm that it works. So I'm going to come to compose, and I'm going to send a message to demo@courageandgrow.com, and I'm going to give it a new number, test 555, hit send. Yep, doesn't need text, that's fine. Now, this may take a second because pop can be a little, it can take a little bit of a delay. It's not usually significant. It might be a minute or two. So if this hasn't refreshed and it doesn't pull in a message in the next like 15, 20 seconds or so, when I'm actively looking for it, I can go in and force it to manually refresh. And I'll show you that in a second. But for the most part, you're never going to notice this. Because messages are just going to come in and they're going to be normal. The only time is if somebody says, hey, I just sent you an email. Can you check for it? This is the only downside to using pop, is that it can be a little slow. So let's come up under settings, back to accounts, and then I'm going to come back down to pop and hit check mail now. It says checking, and see it says one mail fetched. So it grabbed it. And there it is. But you usually won't notice that delay because messages will just come in and out like normal. But if somebody does request one, like if you do have somebody saying, hey, I just sent you one and it's not there, that's how you can force it to refresh really fast. So yeah, that's set up and configured correctly. Now the important thing here is it was sent to demo, right? That's the account that I sent the message to. The important thing here to remember is that I set that setting to reply from whatever message it was sent to. So my default, remember, is anytime I create a new message, it defaults to Anthony at. But this message was sent to demo at, and so when I click it and hit reply, notice that the email address it's going to come from is demo at. So they stay consistent. You're always sending messages. If somebody sends something to hello at, it comes as a reply from that account. You don't have to remember to come in and change it from the default. That's what those settings do. So this is the way you set everything up, and all of your messages will be in one place. They will be labeled as you can see they're coming in, and then I would come and actually come to this label and hit edit and just change it to demo instead of the whole thing because it's smaller. And then give it a color just so it stands out. We'll say orange for this one, I suppose. And that way they populate. So I have support in red. So when I see a red message pop up in my inbox, oh buddy, I pay attention right there. That's a business email. I want to make sure that I am responding to that quickly. All of them, of course, but you want to make sure that you're responding to things. So that's pretty much it. The only other thing is just a little bonus tip. If you come back under settings and scroll down, on the main tab, it's around here somewhere. They move things around, so I don't know. Signature. You can create signatures. So let's just say demo. Gave it a name, and I'm going to say Anthony Demo, Courage and Grow, and then bold my name. We're going to call it demo. That's obviously not my name. Now it's saying, what email address do you want to use that for? I'm going to set it to demo. For new emails, use demo. Right? And we don't want, usually you don't have an email, a signature on a reply. I think it auto saves. Nope, it doesn't. I lied. We're going to hit save. And so now when I choose demo from the list, it populates that signature. So you can automatically set your signatures to show up based on the various accounts that you have. The last thing I would suggest is if you want to make sure you're not inadvertently sending messages from your Gmail account, the suggestion I have is set up a signature that says do not use and set it to all. So anytime you go to put that in, it will show up as do not use and it will flag you, oh, I'm using the wrong account. Just a tip, added layer of security to make sure that you're not publicizing a private account. So I think that's everything I have for you right now. Hopefully you find this helpful and interesting and helps you to streamline your business communications, keep everything in one place, allow you to send and receive messages all in the same spot. And if you have any questions or run into anything, I'm happy to help you out. You can email Anthony@courageandgrow.com. You can email hello@courageandgrow.com. You can email support. All of them are in the same place. So they're all going to come here. So it really doesn't honestly matter which one you send it to. They'll all end up in the same place as you saw, and I'm happy to answer your questions. You can also drop a comment on the video, and I can help you out that way. So hopefully this helps you, and you see some streamlined email communication. I will talk to you very soon. Bye for now. Cheers.